The numbers told the story. They always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is A Numbers Game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Hour number 3 of A Numbers Game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, Sirius XM Channel 158. Gill Alexander. Dustin Swedelson is in for Kelly Bidlin for the rest of the week. Excited to have Dustin here. Dustin wanting to lean into being the heel. We learned from him last segment. I'm not sure if that's your best brand move.
Like Giannis. Giannis needs to lean into being the heel. I know he's pure. I know he seems sincere. We all thought he was the good guy in Milwaukee. I think what he put us through for the last year, will he, won't they? He's now the bad guy.
You know who's all over that? Kelly was all over that. Kelly was sort of like, Giannis just wants to appear like he's a nice guy. He doesn't want out. He doesn't want to tell people he wants out of Milwaukee. Finally, he just has to come out and say it. And he finally probably did.
Also, according to the reports today, it appears the Knicks were still his preferred destination all along, but the irony is the Knicks won the title. Had the Knicks not won the title, I really wonder if they would have made the move, because based on what they got in return, I don't think it would have cost the Knicks all that much.
Isn't it amazing? By the way, my buddy Dave Check, who was the showrunner for the docuseries, Showtime docuseries Action back in the day, which featured Crack and Todd Wishnev and others. He has a new sports documentary coming out today, which is about tennis aces. It's on Netflix. For those who, it's all about every ATP player who's been number one. And I don't think he interviews all of them, but he interviews most of the ATP number one. So it's his new doc, Aces. What I was getting at was he has a documentary in the can that is the what ifs of sports. And you just came up with one that I think is actually kind of fascinating. Think about how it's the old sliding doors thing. If you ever saw that Gwyneth Paltrow movie from the 90s, the notion that, you know, if you made that one subway and the doors, you know, slid in front of you or behind you, how your life will then completely go in a different direction. So the Knicks thing is fascinating, right? If they don't win the championship, as you just said, imagine how much they deal to get Giannis. If they make it happen, that team becomes completely different, right? With no championship.
Oh, 100%. Gil, I bet the Knicks 16-1 during the year when the rumors got hot and heavy for Giannis, because I said, the Knicks aren't good enough to win a title as constructed. They need Giannis. I think they're going to make the move. I won the bet, but the handicap was that Giannis was coming to New York. It wasn't that Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns were going to find their way when it mattered in the postseason. But you just brought up my favorite genre of TV or any movie. It's the alternate reality. So I just binged for the first time the old James Franco show from like 2016, where he goes back to the assassination of JFK to stop it.
Oh.
Also, the show The Man in the High Castle was one of my favorite premises of all time, but failed execution in season 3. But it's where if we would have lost World War II and Germany and Japan split the United States ownership, I like that. So I'm into this idea for a documentary with the sports, because it's like a butterfly effect.
It is a butterfly effect, whatever term you want to use. It's I know, like, some of them, what do we say in football? If Nick Saban becomes the Dolphins coach,
and they signed Drew Brees.
And they signed Drew Brees. I'm sorry. If they signed Drew Brees instead of Dante Culpepper, right? Or whatever. Yeah, if Drew Brees goes to the Dolphins, Nick Saban never goes to Alabama, right? That's a huge what if. I know in tennis circles, it's, hey, if Monica Seles never got stabbed,
that's a big one.
How many Grand Slams does she win? So there's a whole bunch of them, but that Knicks one is pretty interesting. The one that you just came up with. Instead, as we talked about earlier on the show, just me and Dustin, and also then with Drew later, you know, it's the splash before the draft. And in the end, none of us really believes this helps the Heat to any dramatic end this year. But I do believe year 2 and year 3, this becomes a thing. And let's put it that way. Let's put it this way. Pat Riley, not getting any younger. The Heat have a history, right, of making the big splash for the big player, from Alonzo Mourning to Shaq, obviously to LeBron, to now this with Giannis. So this is kind of in their DNA. Jimmy Butler was in there as well. This is kind of their thing, right? And the Bucks, they couldn't afford to go after Jaylen Brown, because I do think it was they couldn't have Jaylen Brown a year from now say, yeah, I don't like this so much, I got to go. and it's a clean slate for the Bucs.
Oh, yeah, and you didn't want to talk yourself into that. When you don't want to talk about building around Jaylen Brown as if like that's the guy who's going to take you home. I mean, I just don't envision him being that type of player. I think a lot of his numbers are skewed because they were a depleted offense. They needed someone to turn to. Tatum was out of the lineup, so he had a career season. For Miami, your point is correct. They are not a title contender this year. I have them like 6th, 7th, or 8th in the East.
It's funny because Drew was kind of going down your road. He was like, "Oh my God, I'm not even sure they're going to be good." And then he had them 6th also.
Yeah, I think they're somewhere in they're around the Philadelphia, Atlanta, Orlando range. I don't know if they're better than any of them or one of them or two of them. But what you said is the biggest piece of this. Giannis goes to Miami because players always want to go to Miami.
Yes.
They've got great weather. They've got no state income tax, and they've got BBLs. That's why the player Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, okay. I was like, what just happened?
Am
I supposed to know what that is?
They want to go down to Miami and hang out and live a different life. Mm-hmm. So because of that, having Giannis there, it adds to the destination route of acquiring another free agent. The only thing I'd be intrigued by this year to consider them a contender, and I don't know how it helps the shooting, LeBron James is a free agent. LeBron James's market for his next team, I don't know if there's too many destinations outside of Golden State. Could he go on a cheap deal to Cleveland? I don't think that's viable either. Miami, if they can make the money work, I wonder if he'd go back to Miami.
Stranger things have happened, as they say.
Yeah, the Knicks just won a championship. We went over it.
Yeah. Okay, NFL betting guide is out, by the way. Oh, one more thing before we do this. Sorry, just a stream of consciousness. Drew Dinsick also brought up a point that I wanted to not let slide by, which is, we were talking about the NBA draft tonight. We all kind of know who we believe we know. Might not happen, but we believe we know who 1, 2, 3, and 4 are. DeBonsa, followed by Peterson, followed by Boozer, followed by Wilson. After that, the draft kind of starts. And so, bets have been sparse. By the way, offerings have been sparse in general to sort of, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy to some degree as well. But he was talking about how, the World Cup has kind of overshadowed it in not only just in his mind, but also in terms of betting markets available and just how much liquid is involved in the World Cup markets. The other thing that I thought got overshadowed by the World Cup is the College World Series. Congratulations to anybody who had Oklahoma to win the College World Series at whatever number you had them, as long as you might have had them. Oklahoma gets it done in the deciding Game 3 yesterday in Omaha. They crush North Carolina. We finally identified who it was that came on this show and gave out Oklahoma because we couldn't remember. Ben Wilson.
Oh!
The most famous man that will ever come out of VSiN, non-Stormy Bonatoni category. Ben Wilson was the guy who came out, gave Oklahoma as a long shot. Ben does play-by-play for college baseball. In all of his play-by-play sort of assignments, he does a lot of that. So good on him and good on everybody who wrote that.
I will unbutton one button on my dress shirt in honor of Ben Wilson, who him and Joe Serralo, when they're on the air, we're close to having a nip slip on VSiN whenever they're around.
You know who used to get mad at me for doing that? Steve Fezzik's wife. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like it at all.
Well, I mean, it's probably the one thing that she was mad about where Steve didn't have a chance to be mad about it previously. So credit to her for beating Steve to the jump there.
All right. NFL betting guide is out. VSiN.com/subscribe. If you want our big $175 offer through the Super Bowl for everything that we do, including the NFL betting guide. We had a chance to chime in on all kinds of different markets. You have a MVP bet, sir.
Yeah, and this is one where I sat down and started looking at this market. I didn't really pinpoint this guy as the person I wanted to identify as my bet. But the more I dove into it, the more I realized, as someone who went from hating Brock Purdy and making fun of him, and then a year ago when he signs the extension saying that Kyle Shanahan signed his own death certificate with that deal, I have now come around to believing Brock Purdy. In the limited time that we see him, I think efficiency-wise, the way that he spreads the ball around, but more importantly, we're now a quarterback going back to the same system year after year after year. He's got to be a master at this point. But when I begin looking at these things for awards specifically, I want to punch holes through some of the guys at the top. If I'm going to bet a longer shot around 20-1, I want to be able to say, you know what? I think the holes and the criticisms legitimate for the top guys. Josh Allen has a new head coach. The big improvement was DJ Moore, who Ben Johnson gave up on in Chicago. Lamar Jackson has a new head coach. He has a new offensive coordinator. We'll see how that plays out. They're the two favorites top the board. Mahomes is 10-1. Patrick Mahomes, how many games is he going to play to win this award? Now, I think the Chiefs' big picture,
all
they care about is playoffs and winning a championship.
He might play all of them is the problem.
No, he might.
Yeah.
He might.
Yeah.
He might, but is he going to put up those monster numbers? Justin Herbert at 10-1. I love Justin Herbert, but that is a crazy short number, and I still don't think the skill's all that special. Drake May, harder schedule. Don't care about A.J. Brown. Dak Prescott, I guess I can get behind the numbers of that, but will they be a playoff team? Stafford at 14-1. I think they slow it up. Caleb Williams, impossible schedule. And then how is Jordan Love shorter than Brock Purdy? Look at what Brock Purdy has to play with. He's got Ricky Pearsall back. He's got a healthy George Kittle coming back. They went out and made a bunch of moves to add weapons, most notably Mike Evans.
Christian Kirk. Yep.
Christian Kirk as well in the slot. The kid out of Ole Miss, who I know you like a lot, Stribling. Comes in, adds a speed element. But Mike Evans is the key. And if you go back and look at Mike Evans' track record, when he's around, quarterbacks thrive. Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M wins a Heisman. What's he doing aside from running around? Throwing 50-50 balls to Mike Evans. Tom Brady, 40-something years old, coming off a horrible year. The year before Tom Brady went to Tampa and eventually won the Super Bowl, worst completion percentage since 2013. Lowest passing yards per game since 2010. Fewest passing touchdowns since 2006. He decimated those numbers first year with Mike Evans. And then Baker Mayfield, reclamation of his career with Mike Evans as the number one target. I don't think Mike Evans is the end-all, be-all here. The only reason why you bet Purdy, there's a lot of elements at play. It's all the weapons. It's Kyle Shanahan. It's the system. It's the situation. It's Purdy knowing what to do. But most importantly, maybe the best plethora of weapons he's had to date. I love Brock Purdy, 22-1 for MVP.
Wow. Ever since I gave out my Niners over 10.5 wins, Wes came on this show, said Niners to win the Super Bowl at 19-1, and now you're here saying Purdy MVP 20-1. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? A lot of Niners love. Coming back, World Cup, Paul Carr. We'll get back into some more American football after that. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VSiN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VSiN Pro.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
20 leagues, one mission, just win bets, baby. Your premier source for daily sports betting picks. They break down the data so you can bet with confidence across the entire sports betting calendar. Scan the QR code or visit justwinbetsbaby.com today. Start betting smarter with Just Win Bets Baby. Name says it all. Gill Alexander, Dustin Swedelson. We were talking about earlier the Golden Boot race. And again, the record for the most goals ever in a World Cup, 13 goals scored back in the day, 1958 back in the day by Just Fontaine. The 1958 World Cup scored 13 goals. Well, Messi's got 5 through 2 games. Kylian Mbappe has 4. Erling Haaland has 4. Both, or all 3 of those guys, once again for the second day already in this World Cup, went multiple goals. And we were talking to Mitch, had a 132-1 on this.
Absolutely insane.
What was that macro stat that you had on this?
Okay, so this is from Pickett. They put this out there on the Messi, Mbappe, Haaland 2+ goal parlay that a lot of people were on. Mitch had a huge hit on it. $5.1 million won on 5,300 bets that were won in that. 5.1 million. Paulie, when I was on with him yesterday, he brought it up. He goes, do you want to do the FOMO parlay where you're going to have FOMO if you don't have this? And I was like, no, I don't want to do it.
Like,
now I definitely have it.
I don't have that emotion.
I 100% have FOMO now.
Paul Carr joins us now from TruMedia Networks and to talk World Cup. Paul, it's just that easy, huh? Bet the stars to score goals left and right.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm bothering to handicap or figure out what's going to happen.
I know.
Goal scorers score goals. Bye, thanks.
That's how I felt about the draws early in this. I'm like, oh, this is so easy. Just bet draw every game. This is the greatest thing ever. Yeah, man. I mean, but it is it is awesome though that the greatest players in the world are all coming through. And for those of us who are not soccer hardos like you are, it's sort of like you watch it, you're like, wow, Like these guys are that much better than everybody else. They can just do this at will. That's how it feels anyway.
Yes. My 11-year-old daughter, not a huge sports fan. She knows like 4 players. One of them is Erling Haaland. He's the tall guy with the ponytail.
Yeah.
And she wants to watch his games. So she's watched both of them. He scored twice and she's just kind of like, oh, that's just what he does. She just expects it.
Just what he does. All right. We have our final game 2s, if you will, tonight or today, all day long, starting with Uzbekistan and Portugal. Do you have anything in this one?
I do. This one starts in 45 minutes or so. I have the under. I got this at plus 170 last night. It's been drifting the other way. I'd probably play it down to plus 150 or so. This is essentially a bet against Portugal. And Portugal is the big team I would be most concerned about after one game because they are so Ronaldo-centric. And Ronaldo is like their 9th best player on the field. And that's a problem for their attack. So I'm not convinced that Portugal can get goals because, again, their best way of attacking is to use their midfield, which might be the best of the tournament, and get their wingers going. They've been pretty bad too. So I don't know that they can do that. Uzbekistan's going to defend and try to hang on and not lose this one by much, maybe scratch out a draw. So I just think this one's going to be a tight, low-scoring game. I'm not convinced Portugal can figure out how to break down Uzbekistan. So I have under 2.5. I got it at plus 170.
How about, based on what we just talked about, the book's scared about another big parlay. Ronaldo anytime goal, minus 240, 2+ goals, plus 192. That feels super short.
Dustin is trying to hammer Ronaldo into this. Yeah. Let's make it happen.
I'm not interested in that at all.
That is just crazy.
Been so not good. I mean, the case for it is obviously he can score goals. Portugal is revolving their offense around him, whether they should or not, trying to get him the ball. You can almost see the players' brains figure out, how can I get this to Ronaldo instead of doing what I really ought to do a lot of the time. So I'm staying away from it. Some of that's personal bias. Some of it's I'm just not convinced Ronaldo still has much left.
So wait, they are doing that by design, because I heard a lot of the criticism I heard was people saying Ronaldo is just playing selfishly. You're more in the former.
It's both. I mean, they're trying to feed him, but Thierry Henry did a great breakdown of Ronaldo should have made this run and not cut back to get the ball that he cut off and took an awkward shot when there was a guy right behind him who could have slammed it home. So it's a bit of both in that Ronaldo is hunting the ball, but they're also just trying to, it reminds me of, it'd be like an outdated NBA offense where you're trying to like run through the big slow center, run everything through them, and it would just kind of clog everything up. That's sort of what they're doing on the soccer level.
We got to get the ball to Gilmore. Artist Gilmore needs the ball. That's right.
Right. Mark Eaton. Come on, let's go.
I feel like I had triples of Mark Eaton's a card growing up in the 90s. All right, I do have a goal bet in England and Ghana. Now, it's the Super Square new bet. I bet Harry Kane first goal scorer in this one, but in terms of the matchup, we're looking at England minus about 525, 15-1 on Ghana, 6-1 for a draw. Total sitting at 2.5 with the over juiced at minus 155. Paul, would you do anything with this match?
It's nothing I love here. I mean, England was the most impressive team in the first set of group games, and I like them to win this one by a couple, but I think minus 1.5 was still like minus 175 or something when I checked. So not too interested in that. But if you had to do something, I would lean England. I would lean goals in this matchup, but I think it's priced appropriately right now.
All right, this is interesting. Switzerland and Canada. So this is one of these interesting motivational game threes where Switzerland and Canada could just agree, right? They'd be like, hey, let's just have a draw. We both get through, no problem. They're probably getting through anyway. But it is, there is some incentive to be first place, I guess, right? Obviously based on matchups in the knockout. So how are you playing this?
Yeah, this is a tricky one, and there's some of these that could just blow up in your face and you realize 5 minutes or maybe 80 minutes in that this probably didn't work out. But I like Switzerland in this, just a straight win at plus 140. Switzerland has to win the group. Canada would win the group with a win or draw. There's not a giant difference in the matchups. You play a first-place team or a runner-up team from Group A, or not Group A, but whichever group it is. So it's not a huge difference. The one incentive Canada does has, if they win the group, they play at home. They would play in Vancouver for a game, possibly too. But Switzerland's just so much better. And Canada is just decimated by injuries. Alphonso Davies, their best player, probably is not going to play. Moise Bombito, their best center back, is just coming back from injury, might play part of the game. And maybe there's two starting midfielders, perhaps most importantly. Eustáquio and Kone are both, well, one is definitely out. Kone broke his leg in the last match. Eustáquio hasn't trained fully yet. And that's really where Switzerland's strength is, in controlling that midfield. So I really see Switzerland controlling this game. Canada will kind of revert back to their defense-first mentality and try to hit Switzerland on the break. So I like Switzerland just to straight win this at plus 140.
What about Japan and Sweden? I feel like people are going to confuse Sweden and Switzerland when people want to bet on these teams. But either way, Japan minus 110, Sweden plus 330, 2.5 to 1 for a draw. How do you want to play this one? And this game is on Thursday.
Yeah, I like Japan a lot in this one. They've looked really good so far. They played Netherlands to a standstill in a 2-2 draw, and then just rolled over Tunisia in the other game, scoring 4 goals. And look, Sweden barely qualified. They had get to this backdoor qualifying way to get here because their defense is terrible, and it looked terrible against Netherlands. And Japan is not that far off Netherlands. So I think Japan can just carve up this Swedish defense just like Netherlands did. Netherlands beat Sweden 5-1. I'm not saying Japan's going to go out and hang 5 on Sweden, but I think they will control just about everything in this game, do more or less what they want, be able to shut down Sweden. They do have a couple potent attackers, does Sweden, but Japan's just better all over the field. So I like Japan to win this one. I got a minus 105. Anything close to even money, I'd jump on.
And nothing on the Colombia Congo game tonight. Nothing on that.
Not really. I mean, I like Colombia a lot in general. I picked them to win this group. They're in a good position to do so after Portugal dropped points against Congo. But yeah, I don't have anything specific to play on this one.
Can I ask you about the United States on Friday? This is one of these weird things too, right? So USA has clinched first place in Group D. Turkey is out completely, correct? They're done. And yet they have to play 90 minutes plus of soccer. Do you come anywhere near that?
I'm not. No, is the short answer. I'm not touching this game. I would guess the U.S. may change all 11 starters or pretty close to it. Turkey, I have no idea what they're going to do. It's a byproduct of this new tiebreaker system where head-to-head is the first tiebreaker, that you have a couple of games like this where one team is clinched, the other one's out. So yeah, it's going to be a very strange fan experience. I'm watching the U.S. play in a World Cup game, and it means nothing, and I have no bets on it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's very weird. I'm not skipping it, of course, but it's one of those, like, this is like a March friendly almost that really doesn't matter that much.
Speaking of the U.S., can you help me understand why everyone hates our guy, Alexi Lawless, American hero? I mean, they're kicking him off the set. They're celebrating him not being there. Why does everyone not like Lawless?
Yeah, there's a couple people that it's like every 4 years they post the same hatchet piece about it. I mean, the thing, Fox is trying to kind of split the atom, split the something with your Rebecca Lowe, Thierry Henry, who are a little more pensive from a broadcaster standpoint and their style, and Alexi Lawless, who is kind of the more Fox bombastic style, and it doesn't always play well together. But it's some of it's just personal preference. Like, what are you looking for? And there's different kinds of things. I like Alexi a lot. I'm a little biased. I've worked with him a lot. He's always been very good to me. But trying to fit those two very different styles of broadcasting together is a challenging thing, and it kind of just brings out the worst in what people do or don't want to see.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but I have trouble articulating why.
See, I don't mind it because I like that he stirs it up, and I feel like we got to defend the American here against the foreigners on our soil.
Right. Man loves
America. It's a little style over substance, but again, different people have different flavors they like.
That's true. That's what makes the world go round. Different strokes for different folks. I got more cliches coming up. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
You bet. See you guys.
Paul Carr, everybody. Portugal, Uzbekistan, under 2.5 from him. That one starts in just over a half hour. More on the NFL. How about that? Next on A Numbers Game.
A Numbers Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Our NFL betting guide is out, and you can capitalize on it right now with our football special for just $175. Whatever you're betting, futures, win totals, division races, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Super Bowl odds, a guide helps you get ahead of the market before training camps begin. Breakdowns of all 32 teams, projected win totals, best bets from VSiN experts, futures analysis, power ratings, and more. Sooner you sign up, the more value you get with full access to everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. That includes daily best bets, real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, and 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe now. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. We get tweet speed in the book, Props Profit. Exactly what I've been saying about the ball and MLB manipulating the games with different baseballs. Great segment with Joe Sheehan earlier. Joe's great. Patrick Kelly. Oh boy, listen to this tweet. If standard deviations are high for what should essentially be the same manufactured object, then there's an anomaly someplace between ball being made and ball being used. If that's identifiable and trackable, there you go. have a feeling a whole bunch of people are on that already. That we're talking about the drag on baseballs. That was a very well-written tweet right there.
I think that was the fancy way of saying we need to find out where these balls are made and what the next batch looks like.
I am glad you're here to interpret. I owe you S69. I'm a Pistons fan, and it was more than obvious in the playoffs that Cade needs help. Norman Powell, or dare I say Jaylen Brown? That's where I'm a Pistons fan right there.
Norman Powell's a good fit. Norman Powell doesn't fit into the structure now for Miami financially after the move for Giannis. He's an elite three-point shooter. He can create. He can take that. The burden on Cade Cunningham is crazy. I mean, I was pretty biased. I had 50-1 on him to be the MVP last year. And I thought if you use the word value, Cade's value to that team was pretty apparent. He was the offense. He made everything happen. He needs shooters because at this point in his career, Duncan Robinson's not that reliable like he used to be. Norman Powell can do more than just shoot threes. I think that is a fantastic fit for the Pistons.
All right, NBA draft tonight. Special numbers game investigation reveals once again that the first round of the NBA draft is tonight, where it is expected, right? The chalk has been the chalk from the beginning. I was in D.C. when the Wizards won the lottery. They have been all in on Dubonsa from that moment. They've never wavered. We'll see tonight, right? There is still a possibility that something could go different, but it's expected to go Wizards, A.J. Dubonsa at number 1. Then the Utah Jazz would go Darren Peterson at number 2. The Memphis Grizzlies will go Cam Boozer at number 3, and the Chicago Bulls will go North Carolina's Caleb Wilson at number 4. By the way, the 1, 2, 3, 4 exact on that now, north of $2. If you want to add in a fifth player, that's where it gets interesting with bets. Will that be Michael Brown Jr. to the Clippers at 5? Will it be Wagner instead? At number 5, Keaton Wagler is the short shot ahead of Michael Brown Jr., to Michael Brown Jr. to get the 5th pick in the draft, or to be the 5th pick in the draft. But we'll see. It's really considered to start at number 5. And in the end, Dustin, I'll say what I said at the beginning of the show. I'm the one who's been sitting here saying those are the first 4 picks in the draft for weeks now. Did I make a bet on that? I did not. I'm a schmendrick. I did make one bet, though, and I alluded to it with Drew, because he mentioned Kingston Flemings to go number 8. I did bet that. I bet it at plus 335. That is my only NBA draft bet in the end.
Wow.
That's it. Well, one bet.
In fairness, like I kind of forgot the deal that the bets were going to be pulled off the board till you texted us yesterday.
24 hours before.
I forgot in Vegas. We don't have them 24 hours before, but they're still up.
Well, so by the way, that is the problem. I would have had more draft bets, except we live in Nevada. So, by the way, Kalshi was staring at me, right? Prophet X staring at me. I could, you see what they have available. I was in California in the weekend. I forgot to do it then, so I was toast. Can't use them here. And then, I'll have friends in other states where you like to mule out a bet or two. I never was that, and this gets back to World Cup's going on. I'm betting tennis every day. I was never apparently that present of mind to be like, oh, I got to get this bet in. Well, somebody help me.
Yeah, it means you didn't love the bet. It wasn't worth the effort. It wasn't worth sending a text message and sending the money to someone.
You know what that sounds like? When I used to forget something, I was going to say something. And my mom used to say to me, oh, it must not have been that important. And I would have been like, yes, it was.
By the way, Dubonsa, since we've been speaking, up to minus $8.
Yeah.
It was minus 5 at one point yesterday.
He was always the pick.
It's going to happen. Look, if you told me I'm the GM of a team and I have to choose one, I think for a lot of reasons, people like Dubonsa. They like the safe pick. I might roll the dice on Darren Peterson.
I don't know, man. I used to think that too. And Todd Wishnev, who watches more college basketball than any human alive, his whole thing was, and we'll have him on tomorrow, but his whole thing was Dubonsa's a tweener to him, right? He doesn't love his game. He didn't love it as a translation to the pros. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you watch more college basketball than I do, so I'm gonna cede that. But then the Darren Peterson shenanigans at Kansas happened, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, look, he's just announced that he's not playing tonight. Or, you just never, and then there was the weird creatine thing after the season. And I'm just like, and then you watch Dubonsa's tape.
Yeah. You
watch that montage and you're like, oh, dude, this guy is, like, the Wizards have nobody like this. You got to draft him. You have to.
Yeah, I think for Peterson, it's only player. The issue with Peterson is everything you just mentioned, but more importantly, where's that coming from? I think he's getting very bad advice from a team that does not know how to handle the situation. If he had better people involved in this process,
maybe.
Darren Peterson's no-brainer number 1 to me. I just think the offensive game is that elite. there are not that many bucket getters that have the ability of Darren Peterson to hit the ground right away and make an impact. I think he's going to be able to do that, and he'll do it in Utah, which is it's not a bad thing.
You talked about the Wizards being good. I mean, Utah has a great little core.
Utah is a fascinating team next year. I know they're in the West. I know it's going to be tough, but they've got versatility. They've got defense. They've got size. They've got three-point shooting. They've got guard play. It's really an interesting roster if they add Peterson to the mix. The thing is, I took a little flyer yesterday, and you can get a much better number now. I bet Boozer to go number 2 at plus 180. It's now over 3-1. I don't think it's going to happen. All the reports are saying it's going to be Peterson, but I just thought there was a chance because he is such a safe pick and they have so much on the line for this year to win. I thought Boozer was worth a look there.
I will give you this. If there is a fly in the ointment of 1, 2, 3, 4, as we believe it's going to happen, as the betting market suggests it will happen, it's that. Because Danny Ainge is very cagey about this stuff. Yeah. And he's known from the beginning who he wants. He either is like, oh, we're getting the best player in the world in Darren Peterson in this draft, or he's thinking, oh my God, I can't believe they're not picking Cam Boozer at 1. Like, he's clearly the best player. Remember, he was the guy, of course, more famously with the Jason Tatum draft, where he's like, yo, you could have Markelle Fultz. I'll take this guy.
You just got the wheels spinning here. Who else did Danny Ainge draft at one point in Boston? Jaylen Brown, who's available right now in a trade. Jaylen Brown. Could the Boston Celtics pull something off here for Jaylen? I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know how they would make it work salary cap wise with all the moves they've already made, but just wondering if the offer's right, if Jaylen Brown could wind up with the Jazz, and all of a sudden you're looking at a scary team.
It's a theory.
It's something I'm just throwing out there.
How many bets do you have then?
So I have 2 more other than the Boozer, and I bet them both yesterday. First, the day Mara. I went under 9.5 on the draft position at plus 150. It's now minus 120. So we're steaming in the right direction. But you know this with the draft. I'm not feeling great either way. It steams in my direction. It steams against my direction. I don't really know what to take from it in an event like this where there's so many unknowns. I just think it's being undervalued what a rim protector who's like 7'2", 7'3", what he's going to bring to the table, because you can factor that in right away. You don't even care about the offense that he brings to the table. And I'm looking at teams that are picking here in the top 10, even Dallas at 9. They have Gafford, they have Lively, but they could use Amara. There's other teams. Could Atlanta? Could Brooklyn? Could the Clippers find the replacement for Zubac and take Mara number 5 overall? I don't think that's crazy. So I think he goes under 9.5. I also think a trade is potential likely for someone in the top 10, which brings us to Darius Acuff.
Well,
Jr.
before we get to Acuff, remember James Barlow was on earlier with us. He said the absolute final point for Mara is 11 to the Warriors.
Yes.
Won't get past that.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I took a little nibble at plus 150, and then I laid some juice with Acuff under 6.5. The Randall trade has me feeling better about this. I think the Brooklyn Nets want to get someone they can pair in a pick and roll situation with Julius Randle, and Darius Acuff makes all the sense in the world. All the talk, all the rumors is Sacramento wants him. Well, if Brooklyn or the Clippers, who reportedly also are linked to Darius Acuff Jr., who's an instant bucket getter, I don't care that he's 6'2", all you have to do is look at the Knicks and Jalen Brunson, who's 6'2", ball-dominant guard, who took them to a championship. I think that's a recipe that other teams are going to want to follow. So if Sacramento wants him so badly, they will trade for the 5th or the 6th pick, and they will get him, or I think the Clippers or the Nets could potentially take him as well.
I think that Acuff is going 6th if nobody makes any trades, right? This is what we're talking about.
Yes.
But I think he's absolutely, I bet Kingston Flemings to go 8 to the Hawks, who are currently there at 8. But I do think at 6, where the Brooklyn Nets are right now, I think Acuff is headed there. And as I look at a prominent offshore to go and race to bet the 6th pick, by the way, could have bet it the whole week. Guess what's not available? It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they skip a couple numbers in there. They don't want any part of that 6th pick. But if you can find that, Acuff feels like he's at 6. We'll come back. We'll recap the bets. More what ifs, by the way, in the sports betting world. Dustin's brought up that whole Knicks thing. If they don't win the championship, do they get Giannis? Next.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a numbers game. Gill Alexander, Dustin Swedelson, in for the vacationing Kelly Baidalan. Kelly's going to make his presence felt here momentarily. We'll recap the bets because he had a few NBA draft bets. Real quick, though, a little bit of breaking news. Since we called Tiago Splitter, since the Blazers decided, you know what, this Tiago Splitter character who did very well with us, we're not really interested in having him as our head coach. They went ahead and they have announced their new head coach, and it is Micah Nori. Micah Nori, former Minnesota Timberwolves lead assistant, is now the new head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. I don't know how much that moves the needle for you, but I do want to say this because I just saw the contract terms. They signed him to a 1-year deal.
What? Dude, that new owner's got to go. He is so cheap.
A 1-year deal with team options for each of the next 2 seasons. Oh, that's confidence.
That's the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard.
Oh my God. Shams Charania reporting this. That is brutal.
First of all, Micah Nori is pretty respected as an assistant. One, personality, temperament, they kind of call him the Ted Lasso of the NBA. 2, he's learned under Chris Finch, who's one of the great tacticians in the game. His teams are consistently coached up, and Nori gets a lot of credit from that. And I've heard him in press conferences. I've heard him speak. He sounds like a guy who's going to be ready for the opportunity. For the Portland Trail Blazers to be that disrespectful and do that, I'm offended for Micah Nori because he's better than them. He was going to get an opportunity. They made a big mistake with Tiago Splitter, letting him walk because I thought he really managed that situation well. They were a fun, hungry team.
They were.
And this new owner, he is a black cloud. He's cutting money everywhere. He slashed pieces of the front office. He's going to continue slashing. He's not letting people travel for road trips. You can't be in the NBA and then treat it like you're in the ABA.
Better pay Denny when the time comes. Yeah, no, Shams reported it as a multi-year deal. And then Jason Quick, senior writer from The Athletic, said, no, it's a 1-year deal with options for the next 2.
Dude, part of the deal is you got to take risk.
Good God, man.
Take a chance. Give him 2 plus an option. 1 year and we could bail out.
Mike Nori's like, enough of this assistant coaching stuff, though. I want to be a head coach. I'll take it. I'll bet on myself.
He should be able to bail out. He should say, after a year, when I prove I'm better than you, I should be able to leave.
Well, I wonder if that's a possibility for him. Once again, the tennis was on the overnight. Ended up 2-1. Hit on Xinyu Wang as a slight dog against Lila Fernandez. Hit on Tatiana Maria as a slight favorite. Actually, this was more of a coin flip versus Jasmine Paolini. By the way, we should have a similarly sized red cross, red X, I should say, next to the Laura Siegelman match. She lost to Sarah Belyuk in a third set tiebreaker, so that prevented us from the clean sheet. By the way, we were winning the Pano Udvardy match up a set on serve in the second, but then Anna Bondar walked off the court. So a 2-1 in tennis. We'll take the win. And then once again, I got one draft bet. After all of this, the guy has been saying 1, 2, 3, 4 exacta for as long as I have been. I ended up with one bet. Kingston Fleming's 8th overall pick at plus 335. Still have the Cubs' most wins in June. This just in, Dustin. That ain't happening.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I got a worse number. I did 2. I can't remember who my other 2 are. Houston's one, which is not looking good, and another one. So I'm not going to win it, but the Cubs felt like a very strong play.
Yeah, they did until they didn't. And then you know what? The Marlins are happening anyway. So if the Marlins win it, I have nothing to be upset about because I was never picking them anyway. Kelly Bidlin in absentia, I believe they say in political conventions. He has 3 NBA draft bets. Nate Ament, the Tennessee standout, he's got under 10.5, meaning that Ament will go in the first 10 picks in the draft. That's his placement bet there.
I like that.
But he also has Darren Peterson, first overall pick. He bet that a couple times. I don't think that's going to win. But I do think Cam Boozer, 3rd overall, is going to win. So maybe he gets the split. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
That's a good call.
We don't know.
We don't know. Look,
don't know.
There was a point for the NBA draft not that long ago. We were sitting here where, was it Jabari Smith was supposed to be the number 1 pick? And then Paulo Banchero out of the woods wound up going number 1.
What a glorious night that was.
That was crazy.
Oh, what a glorious night. You got soccer today.
I do have a couple soccer, having fun with the World Cup. I finally lost a bet yesterday, but we're going to go back here, see if we can make up for that. First of all, we're going to go Portugal with the team total, over 2.5. I know a lot of people are questioning what we saw from this team. in their draw to open things up with the Congo. I think that's why you go team total over. You're going to have a hungry team. You're going to have a squad that wants to go out there and make a statement. And I think offensively, they should be able to overpower Uzbekistan, who lost 3-1 to Colombia in their first match. So I think the offense gets right. Maybe Ronaldo doesn't score 2 like all the other superstars did, but if you can give me 1, maybe Fernandez, maybe Silva, someone else can punch another one in here. I think Portugal goes over the 2.5, which is, by the way, it is the match total 2.5, but yeah, I'm going over 2.5 in Portugal at -121.
You are thinking Uzbekistan could be blanked also in this, or at least the market does.
Well, I think they're going to defend deep, and because of that, they're going to drop so many guys back that the game is going to be played on their end of things, and I think Portugal has enough weapons.
If you watched Algeria-Jordan last night, Algeria, just the entire game was played in Jordan's penalty box.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. In addition to that on the show today, also had other picks from other folks. Dustin, first of all, you also had baseball plays that we never got to.
Yeah, I'll run through them. I'll run through them quickly. So, Justin Robleski from the Dodgers takes the mound against Minnesota, and Minnesota's not horrible against lefties, but Robleski doesn't strike out as many guys on the road as he does at home. And at some point, this does come crashing down based on the numbers. I think he goes under 4.5 strikeouts. I'm going to go over 4.5 Ks for Brandon Sproat here. I don't know how deep he goes into this matchup against Cincinnati, but he did face them a year ago. Even if he only gives us 5 innings, I think he can get 6-7 Ks. So if he only goes 4 innings, let's say, I think we still get to 5. I'm taking a shot with the A's tonight against your Giants, +105. Aaron Savale, way better on the road than he is at home. And if I'm going to trust one of the offenses in this matchup, I'm going to trust the A's offense. They still score on the road. It's not just a Sacramento thing for them. I'm also back in the White Sox at -106 against the Guardians. I just don't think there's a lot of punch for Cleveland's offense right now, and Burke should be able to keep them in this game. The over in Phillies and Nationals, that's a combination of events. One, Zach Littell. We always fade Zach Littell in some way, shape, or form whenever he pitches. And then Washington offensively is the best, or one of the top 2 or 3 across the board in statistics of hitting lefties this year. They take Jesus Luzardo. I like the over 8.5 in that game, and then +118 on the Astros as well.
Your draft bet, sir?
Cam Boozer, 2nd overall, not going to happen, +180. Ade Mara, under 9.5 at +150. And Darius Acuff Jr., under 6.5 on the draft position at -$1.55 juice.
I think you're going to get that one. I think
you can get 2 of them.
Drew Dinsick, Croatia, Panama, over 2.5 goals today. England, win to 0 versus Ghana today in the World Cup. Then tomorrow, Bosnia-Herzegovina, -1.5 goals versus Qatar. Brazil, win to 0 versus Scotland. And then in addition to that, and he knows they both can't win, but one could, and he's bet these two, Brazil win to 0, and then Brazil-Scotland draw +480. I will be on the draw with him in that one. Joe Sheehan, baseball today. Phillies future to win the NL East 4-1. Marlins team total over 4.5 today versus the Rangers. Guardians to beat the White Sox. Oh, Oppo with Sheehan, you and Sheehan, Dustin. And Corbin Carroll over 1.5 total bases in the Diamondbacks game today as well. And then Paul Carr joined us to talk World Cup as well. He's got 1 today, 1 tomorrow, 1 on Thursday. Today, Portugal, Uzbekistan, which is about to start in about 6 minutes, under 2.5 goals at +170. Wednesday, tomorrow, Switzerland to beat Canada, +140. And then Thursday, Japan to beat Sweden at -105. There you go. By the way, I love what you said earlier. If the Knicks don't win the championship, do the Knicks go all out to try to acquire Giannis? I was mentioning my buddy who was a documentarian who has done he's won all kinds of awards for all of his sports docs, Showtime docuseries Action. He's got this one, Aces, about former number one ATP players, that's out on Netflix today. He's had a Nolan Ryan one, a Dave Winfield one. He's got one in the can, the what ifs of sports, and we were talking about, what if the Knicks don't win the championship? Do they end up with Giannis? And how the trajectory of the league changes, we'll never know, right? This is why it's a what if. I mentioned earlier, if Monica Seles doesn't get stabbed is one of the big what ifs. If the Dolphins under Nick Saban get Drew Brees instead of Dante Culpepper, does that change both pro and college football forever? Here's some other ones. The 1984 NBA draft, what if the Portland Trail Blazers at 2?
That's huge.
Decide to draft Michael Jordan instead of Sam Bowie.
Sam Bowie.
Len Bias's overdose, talking about the NBA draft again.
That's a big one.
Celtics had just drafted him 2nd out of the University of Maryland. A day later, He's dead. Bo Jackson's hip injury.
God.
What are his final career stats? Football and baseball. What if Dave Roberts never steals that base in Game 4 for the Red Sox against the Yankees in 2004?
They probably still don't have a World Series.
They probably still. Well, who knows?
No,
right?
I think that really did something.
And if Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt in 2001, how long is the Tom Brady thing delayed, and does he become the Tom Brady that we all know?
Well, I just know his face would look different. He couldn't afford all that surgery.
That's a very good point. Dustin, well done. I'm told we do this again tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Prop Points is next. Enjoy from VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.